It's episode 2 of our record prediction series, and in this one we have the AFC South. If you haven't checked out the first one with the AFC North, make sure you go do that now. And once again, we will be going from bottom up. So starting out with the 4th place team in the AFC South, I have the Houston Texans finishing at 3-14 this season. They may be one of the worst teams in the NFL. They arguably are, and they're going to be looking for the first pick in the draft. I'm not too sold on Davis Mills yet, although he was probably like the second best quarterback in last year's draft class. I really don't think anybody's sold on him. We'll see how he does this season. If he's great, then obviously that should be their franchise guy, at least till further notice. If not, they will have a top pick in next year's draft, and next year's draft is loaded with a ton of QB talent. And in 3rd place, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing with the record of 6-11. New head coach in town, Doug Peterson, who has a lot of winning experience, won the Super Bowl, obviously, with Philadelphia a couple years ago with Nick Foles being Super Bowl MVP, better receivers in O-line, being headlined by Brandon Sheriff on that line, and then Christian Kirk in that receiving core, being headlined this offseason as the most overpaid receiver in the NFL, which is definitely not a wrong thing. Jaguars really do not know what they're doing. One guy that I'm really excited to watch this season, just in the whole entire NFL in general, Travis Etienne is finally back. He's finally going to be making his NFL debut in Week 1. Have not seen him since Clemson when he was Trevor Lawrence's teammate, so definitely really excited to see that. This team's going to be better, obviously, but still very young. It's going to be progressing, and they will end up with another top pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Second in the division, I have the Titans here finishing at 10-7. I was not going to lie, I was on the fence at putting them at 10-8. I think Tannehill is going to be regressing this season. I think we're going to be able to see it throughout. He's turning 34, maybe even 35, I think, soon. Losing A.J. Brown's obviously going to be a huge impact on that team. Bringing in Treylon Burks was obviously one of the biggest moves in the offseason for that team. Supposed to be the next A.J. Brown. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, a lot on his hands. Most likely going to be that team's number 1 receiver this year. So a lot of eyes going to be on Treylon Burks. So a lot of pressure on him to kind of take the spot of A.J. Brown, which is going to be hard for him to do. But I really don't see this Titans team doing much, not even close more than they did last year, finishing as the 1 seed. I think that they will actually be missing the playoffs. No team that I've mentioned obviously has been making the playoffs, and I think that the Titans here, even with the 10-7 record, still missed the playoffs. And winning the AFC South, a new winner once again for this division. I have the Colts finishing with a record of 11-6. Another quarterback change for this team. I think it's the best one in a while that they have made. Trading Carson Wentz to the Commanders and bringing in Matt Ryan from the Falcons. The receiving core, like I've mentioned with a ton of teams in my predictions, I'm kind of concerned. Just a teensy bit. Michael Pittman Jr. is the first receiver on this team, and I think he's in for a huge year. I'm a big fan of him, and I think that he can have a really, really big year this season. Paris Campbell and Alec Pierce, the rookie, being this wide receiver 2 and 3 on that team. But the offensive line is arguably the best in the NFL. Behind that defense, who's top 5, definitely in the NFL. So this team is good. I think this team is really good. I've been finishing as the 4 seed, so the worst out of each division winner, which isn't a bad thing, but they will have home field advantage in the playoffs, at least in my prediction. And I don't really think they have much of a challenge in this division. Titans are really the only team, obviously. Like I said before, though, I think that the whole entire team is just going to be surprising people, and not in a good way, in a bad way. Just not being what they expected. So I think the Colts will, not easily, but I think that they'll have some room to spare winning this division with the record of 11-6. But that will wrap up this episode. Stay tuned for the next one. I think that we'll be having AFC East in episode 3, so make sure you stay tuned for that. See you in the next one. Have a great day.